So one of the things that we really get to experience from working with doctors in Vision Adventure is that we get to kind of see what their pain points are and what things that they're working through, so we can really kind of help them get a full practice sort of makeover while they're in this program. And so one of the things that has come up quite a bit is inefficiencies. Inefficiencies of staff, inefficiencies of report writing, inefficiencies of treatment planning, inefficiencies of everywhere that there could be an inefficiency. Having, like, 5 people need to be involved in having one thing done. And then at the end of the day, the doctor is the bottleneck. And so then if the doctor is the bottleneck, that means that then the doctor is stressed out, staff is stressed out and often becomes disengaged, and then the patients don't get the care that they need.
Exactly.
So we wanted to talk a bit about how we've dealt with inefficiencies in our practice and how that's kind of transformed how we do things. I am no longer the bottleneck of much because I don't do as much of the administrative things.
Because she does a lot, just not those things.
Not the administrative things, because, I know that that's not my strong suit, and I know that I'm historically the bottleneck of those things. So then what I did is I spent a lot of time training my team to be able to do the things that were taking me so much longer to do.
Exactly. Anytime you can delegate what is not what you need to do, what you yourself need to be doing, if just like whenever you come up to a task, especially those that are getting bottlenecked, ask yourself, am I the only one that can do this? And if the answer is yes, then yeah, you need to do it. And maybe we need to figure out a better way of doing it. But if the answer is no, someone else can.
And if it's a trick answer, that can I do it faster than somebody else? That's dangerous. That's dangerous territory.
It is.
You can only do it faster than somebody else because you haven't taught the other person how to do it.
Exactly.
So soon they will be able to do it faster than you if you ever teach them how to do it. But a lot of times, especially when there's a million things on our desk, it's like, at least I get to check this off because I can do it fast. And then you're not doing the things that only you can do, and the things that only you can do then pile up. So when we're thinking about, even from the initial conversation to having somebody schedule an exam, before we needed a trained staff person to really be able to take our patients through this elaborate checklist and have them understand that vision therapy was the answer to all the things. And then we needed to come up with a triage sheet. So then anybody could kind of walk them through, it's like, if this, then that, all the way through being able to schedule an appointment. So what we've had some of our doctors tell us is that, they'll have somebody who knows vision therapy answer the phone and schedule the appointment, but then, or they don't even schedule the appointment, they take the information down and then they meet with him to go over what the person said, to then decide what sort of testing should be done before the exam so that they can schedule that time block appropriately. So if we're thinking as far as efficiency is concerned, that's like probably the most inefficient way of scheduling an appointment that we can find. And so what we want to do is have an if this, then that type of thing as far as what the testing is that's going to be done as well. And so for some of our exams, we do testing before the patient even comes in. And we have a clear process that, we're going to check things in these different areas of processing, and based on what the person says in that conversation, that's how people know what testing needs to be done before I see them for their exam. And so that takes a lot of training, but once it's trained, then it's done and it's no longer on your plate, and you're not needing to go back to a patient to then try to recatch them to schedule this appointment now, because a lot of times, like, things get lost, like each point of difficulty that you have for a person to actually become a patient, a client, anything, is another area for them to get lost and for you to lose them completely to follow up. And so we want to make sure that we decrease any barriers there are to actually becoming on board with your practice.
And then once they actually do schedule that appointment and we know they're coming in, we have different processes in place that help prepare our office to be able to give them the care that they need as quickly as possible. So that includes our report writing. So we have a standard report that we have kind of like as a template, and we have different templates for different pronouns. We have a he report, we have a she report, we have a they pronoun report, like everything is ready, and we just take the appropriate one. We plug in their name wherever their name is due, and then we can put in their symptoms right away because we already have those situated, and then we can just start to clarify what this patient is going to need after their exam before we've even seen them.
And it also goes by age too. So, you know, there's reports that talk about academic performance, reports that talk about preschool performance, reports that talk about going back to work or driving. So once you have all of those kind of templated out, then it's easy for somebody to plug in the information from your exam, and then you just go back in and check it and make sure that there's nothing else that came up that you were like dying to put into the report and that sort of thing. But a lot of times doctors are writing their own reports, and that can take forever because you're also trying to like pay payroll and also trying to make sure there's enough toilet paper and like all of the other things that we do that are not on the list of things that I need to do. But, you know, sometimes those are things that the doctors feel like they do need to do. But even when it does come to things like that, and, you know, subscribe and save is a great way to Amazon, if you got that little plug there. So subscribe and save is a great way to make sure that your office constantly has whatever supplies that you need. And then you know exactly what supplies you always need, and you start to be able to anticipate how frequently you need them. And so things like that, where we're not waiting until we run out of things to reorder. We're just like, we have everything, as many things as you can put on automatic as possible.
Exactly. The structure of automation is just a really important thing. Plus, it also helps you with like just prediction of what your costs are going to be, what like, you know, you just can anticipate those variations, those fluctuations.
Then the other thing that we do, because we have a lot of pots on the stove all the time here at 4D Vision Gym, and one of the things that we do is we use Asana as our project management
Another
software.
free plug.
I know, right? So for that, when we're using this project management, we're able to, we've created it so that everyone has a dashboard. So that's what everyone is supposed to log into as soon as they check in for the day. And they look to see, you know, what are my today's priorities? Do people have questions for me? What questions do patients have pending? And that sort of thing. So we can like assign things to everybody. Some things don't slip through the cracks, because with us being essentially a self-pay practice, and especially having that monthly membership type of thing, our patients are expecting that they're being taken care of from start to finish. So balls should not be dropping when the expectation is there that this is like a boutique, like we're taking care of everything type of service that we're providing. And so we need to make sure that we're all on the same page. We know what's going on. There's a task in Asana for everything that's happening, so that we don't have those little hiccups that we used to have a lot. Because emails, things get lost in emails, and then I don't know. Then there's so many emails, and I'm like, oh, I'm just not gonna read them.
Or to-do lists, you know.
I
love me a good to-do list. I love to-do lists. I love checking things off, but it's the thing that Asana does with your to-do list is you can create a task for every one of your options of to-dos. And not only does it just like stay on your notebook in your desk, and then, you know, someone else on your team is like, hey, what happened to that thing? And you're like, yeah, but I took care of that like 3 weeks ago. But nobody knows that it was actually taken care of. But if they see that there's a task that is checked off, then they know it's taken care of, because everybody has access to it and can see what's going on.
I take a lot of pleasure in checking things off. And when you check things off in Asana, there's a little unicorn that flies by. It makes me really happy.
Or an otter. Sometimes it's an otter holding a heart.
Maybe that's
flies around. Oh, no, I've seen both.
I've only seen the unicorn.
Anywho.
Maybe I don't check that many things off. Who knows?
I think standardized operating procedures, SOPs,
yes,
are a huge game changer. And one of the things that I was almost surprised that some of the doctors that we've been working with are like, wait, we should have a procedure for that? It's just something that we do. But whenever you have a new staff member join your team, or whenever there are changes, you know, you have to onboard everybody to the same changes. What if you didn't have to sit there and train everybody? What if you can hand them a piece of paper that says, here, this is exactly how we do things. Just follow the steps. And it's a plug and play sort of process.
And even for the people who do it every day, having the SOP there and having them go through it, make sure that like things don't get forgotten about. Because a lot of times what'll happen is things are busy. It's like, oh, I'll get back to that part, or I'll get back to this piece. And then they don't get gotten back to. And so having those SOPs, and then you can just run down them and see like, oh, did I do everything that was necessary for this, is really, really helpful. In our office, we also utilize staff both in the office and virtually as well. Yes. So we have remote staff and we have in-office staff. And that's been very, very great because, as you know, in a practice, sometimes everyone's running around with like chickens with their heads cut off. And it's great to have somebody who's not here, who's actually just sitting at a desk able to do their work, because sometimes I envy that.
And they don't get distracted or interrupted 1,000 times a day by, you know, someone just walks in the door. Like it happens in our building. We're in the same building as other businesses and they think they're going to, you know, the real estate agency downstairs. And they're like, where's my realtor? Man, I'm sorry.
I have not encountered that.
Sure. I have.
With the otter with the heart.
Yeah. I'm just saying, you know. But if they're working somewhere else remotely and they're actually, you know, dedicated hours, like they have this uninterrupted time to actually focus on returning patient messages or focusing on just the structures that we need to keep going for billing or for programmatics or report writing or whatever it is. They've got it down in a system where they're not being interrupted by, you know, what everything. We do. Yeah.
Exactly. And by us, because we interrupt each other a lot.
Yeah.
So, you know, for them, it's like out of sight, out of mind. It's like we don't even think to bother them as much as we bother each other. So it's good. They can actually get a lot more done by not being here. And so that's an option. And it's also an option for when you're looking to expand your practice. Now, a lot of people want to work remotely. So, and usually in a doctor's office, we're like, oh, well, that's just not possible. But again, just like with the patients, we need to meet people where they are. And if they need to work remotely for whatever reason, there are jobs in our practices that can be done remotely. And maybe it's not full-time remotely, but once you start giving somebody remote work, there's a lot of things that they can do, which can make it become full-time. But even if you want to start with giving them 1 or 2 days a week that they can work from home, that will make your job, like your position that you're offering at your practice, a lot more desirable. And so those are a couple things, making sure that you're only doing the things that only you can do and that you're training somebody on how to do all the other things, because that's what's going to be the key to having your practice be sustainable and that you like it, because we don't want to be feeling like we're drowning all the time. So, thanks.